And we should be live in a second.
Adam, I feel like we're in school.
Why is that?
Well, because this is like so informative and it's been happening a lot. So it kind of has like, okay, gotta show up and do the thing.
That's cool.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
in a good way, not like a
Yeah, sure.
It's not punitive, Mika.
Okay. So it looks like we're live on Facebook. I don't know, but I'm gonna get started. Got a good crew, and we are gonna cook spaghetti alio e olio. Okay, so I chose this dish, and just a reminder to all the people cooking: if you can mute yourself, unless you have a question, just so that the screen doesn't bounce back and forth. I have a camera that is on the overhead. So if anybody needs specific guidance of what's happening in the pot, you can always look over at the pot to my Zoom people. And then Facebook people enjoy lurking. So spaghetti aglio olio is the easiest thing in the world to make. You don't need me. You could literally just take it by its name, put some spaghetti in a pan with Aglio, which is garlic, and Olio, which is oil, and you've got spaghetti aglio olio. It's a Neapolitan dish, and probably pretty ancient. But there's some tricks to making it, in my opinion, that elevate it. And that's why I wanted to do this, because I'm always really into the notion of simple dishes, simple ingredients, but elevated process, technique, and ingredients. So what we're going to do is break down the individual ingredients. And I guess first off, in those things, the spaghetti, the aglio, and the olio, you want to start by thinking, how can you elevate each one of those things? Spaghetti being the most important thing in the dish. You can go to the supermarket and you can buy Safeway brand pasta, and you're going to have a much different experience. There's subtleties in a high-end pasta. And that's why you see some of the high-end pastas in the market costing $5, $7, $10 for a pound of pasta versus $1.99 or 99 cents for Safeway brand pasta. So in my opinion, for a dish like this, you want to invest in a better pasta. I would say the baseline, the lowest quality pasta that I would use would be DeCecco. DeCecco is, a $4 pasta. It's decent. It's made with, mass production, pretty high quality for mass production. I'm going to use today Rustichella d'Abruzzo. It's a little higher end. What I really like about the Rustichella is that as a slightly more artisanal product, it's got a texture to it. If you look at the spaghetti itself, there's a bit of a sheen on the edge of it, and when you cook it, it actually it grips the pasta. I wouldn't say sheen, actually. It's more rough on the edges. They say it's dried at low temperatures. They use bronze dyes to extrude it. They use a high quality durum wheat. So, a slight difference between these, and then a significant difference between these and crappy spaghetti. So we start with that. Garlic, I think that you just want to have slightly fresher garlic. It's not hard to get good garlic. I just got these beautiful, at my local Good Life market, these beautiful little garlic that I think are going to be fresher. They're not grown as big, so I think they're going to have a little bit more punch. And then, your average Whole Foods garlic, either one would work. I would just say don't use something that's been sitting around for a really long time, because it's going to start to get a little more bitter. And then oil. Might be one of the things that has the biggest effect on the flavor of the pasta. Again, high-end oil. We talked about this for the Caesar salad. This isn't going to be oil that you're using to fry things at high temperatures. So you want something where you're going to pick up on the subtleties a little bit. For this, I use Bariani. I think I mentioned this bottle is probably about $25. No, actually, I think this is more. The smaller one's $25. This is probably like $35. So it's not cheap, but you'll notice the difference. And the subtleties in olive oil, they range from, say, in a high-end olive oil, from grassy to buttery. I lean on the buttery side. I tend to prefer that. So that's the Biryani is my choice. As far as the process, what we're going to do is we're going to cook the pasta. We're going to slice the garlic. And I think the trick here is getting the garlic the way you like it, and then we'll assemble it. So the equipment that I'm going to use 2 pans. One is going to be to cook the pasta in. The other is going to be to saute the pasta when it's done. The one that I'm using to cook the pasta in is actually quite shallow. And you may find that a lot of recipes that you've seen in the past tell you to use a big, massive pot to boil your pasta in. It's unnecessary. And in fact, one of the ingredients that we're going to use, the secret to this, is some of the starchy pasta water. So in order to get starchier pasta water, we want to have a shallow pan. So we want to fill up our shallow pan. I'll probably fill it halfway, enough to cover the spaghetti, and give it a good boil, but I don't want to dilute the starchiness of that water. And then we're going to salt it. They say make it salty like the sea. I think that's overkill. You do want it to taste salty, though. But if you ever try to drink seawater, that's a little too salty for this. So I probably just put about 2 teaspoons of salt in there, and I'm going to put that on high and get that boiled.
Adam, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Would you prefer a artisanal pasta over your homemade, handmade pasta?
It's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So with this dish, in my opinion, I feel like fresh pasta doesn't work as well for aglio olio. That said, I've done it. Not long ago, we had a crab night, and I felt like making homemade pasta, and it was delicious. But this dish, certain sauces go well with a dried pasta. This would be one of them where I think the dried pasta, the dried spaghetti, is a better choice. So thank you for asking that. I did want to mention that. So I've got the pasta water on. So the next thing I want to do, really the only prep here, is going to be getting some parsley chopped up and the garlic. So the thing about the garlic is, in my opinion, I think this dish works best when the garlic is super, super thin. And you remember that scene in Goodfellas where they were in prison and Paulie's making the sauce and he's talking about how he likes the garlic sliced so thin that he does it with a razor blade. I actually have tried that for years. I was doing that. They actually were making tomato sauce, so I don't know if that makes all that much sense. But for this, I do feel like having a really thinly sliced garlic is the key to having it distributed well about the dish, yet not overpowering it with big hunks of garlic. So I used to do it with the razor blade. A good sharp knife will get you there. But lately, I thought, and I wanted to try out using my mandolin for this. So if you guys have a mandolin, I highly recommend you use the mandolin. If not, then what you're going to do is you're going to pull out, I would say, now I'm going to cook for 2 people. I would say that my recipe will be based upon 2 people. So if you're cooking for 4 people, you want to double what I do. But I'm probably going to do about a clove of garlic per person. So I'm probably going to do 4 cloves of garlic. 2 cloves of garlic per person. I'm going to do 4, so you guys should do, if you're doing for 4, you might want to do 8 whole cloves of garlic. And it depends on how big they are. You know that garlic can be big like these guys, or smaller like these guys. So gauge, I would say 2 fairly large cloves of garlic per person. And that's a lot of garlic. This is a garlicky dish. So what I'm going to do is, is anybody using a mandolin besides me? Nope. Well, you're lost, guys. This may be a good opportunity to see the benefit, because when you do it with a knife, you'll get it thin, but with this, you get it just consistently and easily thin. And the trick is to use a glove that you don't cut your finger with, because you want to get really deep in and close. So when I get in there, I'm going to use a glove. But what you guys want to do is cut. So you're going to cut on the short side of the garlic. So if your garlic's like this, you want to make cuts like that, all the way down and across. So hold your garlic down and get as thin as you possibly can. Oops. I'm going to peel mine. And now, it's not difficult. Let's talk about other things that go in this dish while we're getting our garlic ready. Very easy to add things into this. I think it's fantastic on its own. But if I'm going to add things into it to boost it up, I think the first thing that I would add would be anchovy. I think anchovy, Judah and I were in Sardinia last summer. And we went out on a boat trip, and the captain of the boat was cooking us lunch, and we had been snorkeling, and it was a beautiful day, and he started cooking up some pasta in the galley for us, and he made an aglio olio with anchovies, and there were a little bit of cherry tomatoes in it. And Judah was just over the moon. Dad, this is the greatest thing ever. And the kid doesn't like anchovies, yet he loves my Caesar salad, and he loved that. So I think he actually does like anchovies. He doesn't like the thought of them. But anyway, really, really great use of it. Other things you can throw in here, shrimp work really well. You can make it a scampi. You know, the primary difference would be you'd add some wine and some lemon and some shrimp, and you can turn it into a scampi. Also, the version that I'm making today is actually Aglio e Olio e peperoncino. We're going to put crushed red chili peppers in it, unless you have an aversion to that, because I like a little extra heat. Yes, question?
Can I just have you weigh in on the quality of this kind of olive oil? It's like...
That's good. So it's become sort of the mass market default. I keep it in my fridge. So my perspective on it is that this is my second tier olive oil. This is my first tier olive oil, and then I keep like a Trader Joe's around as my low end olive oil. So it's good, and I use this more in finishing applications. This in cooking applications, so it would be fine for this. And then I keep, this is the crappy Trader Joe's stuff that I use for high heat sautéing and stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to get on my mandolin here. And how's everybody doing getting their garlic thin? You all have some thin garlic happening? Yeah, so this is just really life-changing when you, and we make this a lot, so having the mandolin to be able to get it that thin, that quick, I mean, can't speak enough to the benefit of this. So I'll blow through four cloves pretty quickly, and it'll be much thinner than I can get with my own knife cuts. Unless your knife is like incredibly sharp and you were trained in like a Japanese culinary school, this is going to wind up being thinner and certainly a lot faster.
With this, Adam, Japanese bro.
Yeah, we got Japanese knives, but do you have the Japanese skills?
I'd say my skills on a 1 to 10 on Japanese is probably a 2.5.
And do you keep it sharp, like sharpen it daily?
No, because this is a very special knife that I bought, and I'm afraid to sharpen it. Because
you gotta sharpen it, bro.
I'm afraid I'm gonna mess it up because it has like this weird finish. But I'm gonna take it to a knife sharpener this summer. There's
a new service called Knife Aid, and they actually do a pretty good job. It's online, it's super cheap, and you mail them out, and then they mail them back, and they do a great job. I've had my family do it. I did it. Eric says we never got the Zoom info to join this one. You all got it, didn't you? Because you went on Facebook. It's under the event on Facebook, Eric. Wow, they're going to lose their status as our top student. Let me just see if I can help them out here. Where is the details of this? Don't know. Oh, there he is. I bet that's him. All right, Eric. Figure it out, Eric?
Robert had it, but it wasn't on my Facebook page.
I got it. Okay, guys. So, how's everybody doing with their garlic? I'm going to show you mine. Let me get a little dish to. So I got a ton of garlic here, and it's wafer thin. So if you can see right there, ton of garlic, wafer thin. I can also put it on this camera. So let me know when you guys are caught up. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take olive oil, and for each person that I'm making this for, I'm probably going to put a hefty tablespoon of olive oil, maybe 1.5. So I'm probably going to put in here about 3 tablespoons of olive oil for my 2 people. And I'm going to put it on the lowest heat possible. And I'm going to dump all my garlic right into the pan. So I'm going to move to the overhead camera. I'm going to pin it for Facebook. New feature, guys. I figured out how to share my screen. So Facebook's inability to work with Zoom has pushed me to other solutions. So I have a feeling there's a bit of an audio delay. Eric, did you see an audio delay when you were on Facebook? Okay. So now, the idea here is we're going to get this garlic melt into this oil. We're going to cook it at a super low heat. I usually do this somewhat in advance of cooking my dish. Because I like the garlic to impart flavor into the oil. So oftentimes, when I'm making this dish, I might start a few minutes early and just let this garlic go. Now, this is also the time where I add crushed red peppers. So I'm using just standard crushed red pepperoncini, as they're known in Italy. And this is a preference. I'm going to just speckle it. I like it kind of spicy, but on this dish, I don't go too spicy. So I'm maybe putting 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon for my 2 people. If you were doing cherry tomatoes, this would be the time I would add cherry tomatoes as well. You want to get them a little blistered. I'm not doing them today. I'm just going to stick with the traditional. But if you were doing them, this would be the time.
Adam, do we put them in whole or slice them?
Cherry tomatoes?
Yeah.
I would have them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I do it. Oh, are we drinking wine? Is anybody drinking wine? Goodness, how have I...
I'm on ginger tea. It's Monday.
Ginger tea. Sunday? There are no Sundays during lockdown.
No, I said it's Monday.
Is it Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, boys and girls, welcome to day 63 of lockdown. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day from the neighbor. Would you be mine? Won't you be mine?
Adam, your shave looks good, by the way.
Oh yeah, I got rid of the beard because I just couldn't take it. I thought lockdown was going to be a lot shorter.
Looking sharp.
Yeah, I was feeling old and grizzly, and it was a reminder of how funky everything was. All right, so look at my oil. It is going too fast, so I turned it down a little bit. You don't want it to sizzle that hot. Because I don't want to burn the garlic. I want to softly cook it. So I turned it down as low as it can go. I got it a little high there. And then I'm going to turn up the water. Now, what's interesting is I was reading the spaghetti, and it said that this pack has 8 portions. So they're saying that a pound of pasta should be 8 portions, and I don't know a human that can get 8 out of these. I usually can get 4, maybe 5 out of a bag of pasta. So I would say...
Capers, do we add that now too?
What's that?
Capers?
Yeah, if you're going to do capers, I would put it in now. Anchovies, though, I would wait. If you're doing anchovies, then I would do that at the end. But if you want to do capers, then I like them to get a little blistery. I like how John's just kind of watching you. He's not really helping you much, is he?
He didn't help me. He just got back from a bike ride.
I did some stuff.
Okay.
How much capers, Adam, per serving?
If you're doing capers, I don't know, a tablespoon or more. While we're doing this, I am going to pick over my parsley. Apparently there is an audio delay on Facebook. Big Ed says hello to everyone. Today is Gabby's birthday. I don't know if anybody's joining the 8 o'clock call for Gabby, but that'll be fun. So I'm going to pick over this parsley, and then I'm going to get my pasta water back up to a rolling boil, and we're going to add the pasta into the water. This is going to come together really quickly. This is not one of those dishes where we're going to be taking forever like our previous classes. And I would say, maybe for my 2 people, like a small handful of chopped parsley. So the trick is going to be, when we get the pasta cooking, we're not going to cook it all the way through. Greatest thing I can ever teach you about cooking pasta is to undercook your pasta and then finish it in the sauce. It will absorb flavor from the sauce, and it will finish cooking there just fine. Okay, so my pasta water's going. It's nicely salted. I'm going to take my spaghetti. So for 2 people, I'm looking at about 1/3 of this packet at most. Could even be a bit much, but that's fine. And technically, Judah's not even here, so I'm just making 2 so that you guys can... Nobody cooks for 1 but me. Because I'm lonely and I'm all by myself. All right, so spaghetti going in the water. You can use one of these. It's helpful, but I prefer these. Helpful. And then, as I said, look, another trick that I want everybody to learn is, Judah often says to me, Dad, how long should I cook the pasta? Or, friends are making pasta and they're like, how long should we cook it? And I always say, annoyingly, till it's done. And that's just the way it is. It's till it's done. The package says 10 minutes. This one says cooking time 12 minutes. I don't know if this one has a cooking time. I hope not, because it's real Italian. Here's the thing. You got to learn how to tell when pasta's done. And, it's going to be a personal preference, but you all know what al dente is. Al dente means to the teeth. And it means that when you bite into the pasta, it should be bitey. There should be a bit of resistance. You don't want it to be so much that it's stiff and crunchy, but you want it to not be mushy and your teeth go through it all the way without having any resistance. That's the to the teeth al dente notion. So what I would recommend is, if you don't have a sense by feel, which, you and I usually take a bite of one and I see. With this dish, you want to get it before al dente. So you do want it to be a little crunchy. So it's going to be loose. It's not going to be stiff like it is here. Let me go back to the overhead so you can see. So you see how this is starting to bend, right? As I play with it, it bends. But it's still quite stiff. It doesn't completely wrap around my tongs. So I know that this is not there yet. I want it to get to the point where it's bendy and still has a bit of a crunch right before it gets to the part where it's al dente. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that to my pan with the oil. I'm going to turn up the heat and I'm going to add some of the pasta water. So this is the key to making aglio olio. Let me get a serving bowl. So the key to making the aglio olio is this final preparation. You see my garlic is nice and golden. It's not burnt. It's not brown. It's really flavored the oil. And the pasta is getting closer. You can see it's starting to get a little bend in it, but it's still fairly rigid. You can see the water is a little cloudy. That's the starch, and that is going to create a bit of an emulsion in the garlic and oil and chilies when we get to the final stage of this. So I recommend, don't read the box. Just cook pasta 100 times and taste it as it goes. We've all eat pasta easily 100 times a year, right? I mean, there's 365 days a year, and I eat pasta twice a day, so 700 times a year. There's a lot of opportunity to practice. And get a feel for when it's just before al dente. And make sure you start your kids off early eating pasta al dente, because then they'll grow to like it. If you feed them mushy pasta, they're going to get used to mushy pasta, and then you have to live with that. Okay, we're getting close here. How's everybody doing? Thumbs up. Thumbs up, all the way across. Yeah. No Sarah today.
Maybe Sarah's anti-carbs.
Glicking? No, she's not.
I'm just teasing.
So, my spaghetti is still bitey, like beyond al dente, but too far to go in the pan for spaghetti. My friend Jennifer just said that she's had pasta 700 times during this quarantine. So here's the thing about eating during quarantine for me. I'm already too big for my fat clothes. Like, I've got a wardrobe of my thin wardrobe and my heavy wardrobe, and I'm over here to the point where I went and I bought new pajamas that were a size up, and those are the only things I can really wear. I'm actually wearing them right now. You guys can't see because I can't fit in any pants. Hey, Robert. How you doing, handsome? You guys all know that this handsome man down in the bottom corner here is a very, very old and dear friend of mine who was a college fraternity brother named Robert Driggs. We love Robert. Okay, I'm almost there. Look at how it's starting to get pretty loose.
Adam, question?
Yes.
Should we have turned our garlic down by now or still?
If it's on really low, it should be okay. Just don't let it burn. You can see how mine is just lightly brown or golden. Hey, Poppy Maybell. Because we're going to drop our pasta in there, and then we're going to turn it up to finish. So this is the key. In almost any pasta that you're making, tomato sauce in particular, the cacio e pepe you don't because the sauce can't be cooked heavily. So that's why we didn't do it with cacio e pepe. But this one, and most other sauces, you want to finish it in the pan. Okay, so I'm feeling like I'm pretty much there. It is almost al dente, but still a little too bitey. It's nice and salty from the water. I'm going into the pan now with the spaghetti. You can hear it sizzling. And then what I'm going to do is add probably a 1/4 cup of the pasta water to start. And I'm just going to mix it around.
You're not straining it, you're just like...
No, you want the water. So I'm going to take some of the pasta water from here and drop it right in with that and get it up to a higher heat. So you can look at my pan. I've got now a nice coverage of pasta water.
Your overhead view's gone, I think, by the way.
Gone as in turned off?
So, yeah.
Oh man, that means that the phone's probably overheating. Yeah. I got to figure out a new solution for that. Let's let the phone cool down, but here you can see what I got going on there is it's up in there. There's a sauce in there. There's enough water to make a bit of a sauce with the oil. And I want to get it on a pretty high heat so that it'll cook down and create a bit of an emulsion. So I'm going to toss it and stir it as the oil and the water combine. And ultimately, what will happen is it'll thicken to a point that you'll see it'll be a little starchy. I'm going to add a little more crushed chilies on here because it looks pretty. So as you put it on that high heat, it's all going to come together fairly quickly. In just a minute or so, you'll see that the water and the oil become one. And right when it's done, that's when you want to toss in your anchovies, if you're doing anchovies. I know Tommy would like that. And our parsley. So we're going to take it off the heat to add those things. And then we'll plate it, put a little Parmesan on it. Boom.
Adam, so with the anchovies, would you
Chop them up super fine, yeah. Okay, now here's how you can tell that it's done. I can actually hear the water essentially has almost cooked off, and I'm going to turn it off now. So without having the overhead camera, you can see that it's emulsified. It is a sauce unto itself now. I'm going to toss in the parsley, turn it off the heat. Save a little parsley to put on top for a garnish, and then I'm going to plate some.
Adam, do you cut or rip your parsley or just put it in whole?
I had chopped it. I don't know if I wasn't loud enough when I said that, but I chopped it up a little bit.
Oh, I might have missed that. Thank you.
No worries. So then I'm going to hit it with a little fresh parm,
hot Parmesan.
A little more of the parsley on top, and a couple chili flakes. Just this is for for aesthetics. So you get it all, and there it is. The simplest dish, but so satisfying. You guys see that? Oh, my phone is back, so I can give you the overhead.
Beautiful.
Here, I'll give you the overhead for the final shot.
Oh, there it is.
And there it is. Oops. Let me pin it.
Not bigger with that. Yeah.
That's what you're looking for, people.
Beautiful. Your turn.
You guys want to see how beautiful it is out in San Francisco right now?
Oh. That is a nice day.
I think this was fine.
What a great day to quarantine yourself inside, Adam.
I'm okay with it. All right, people. On Thursday, we're going to be doing, you see my setup here with my lights? This is how I make my set look so pretty. You guys are getting all a little insight into what goes on here, the magic of TV.
And you look so pretty too, Adam.
Thank
I
you,
love
baby.
it.
Thank you, baby. Look, guys, enjoy your dinner tonight. It is an unbelievable pleasure to cook with you. Thursday, we are doing cow soy. I know that that's not for everybody. Cow soy it's challenging. It's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding. It's an amazing dish. If you can't get the ingredients, come and join us just to watch it on Facebook. Is everybody finished and got something to eat? How is it, Lorber? K-Maz, how is it?
It's good. You put a lot of chili.
Yeah, spicy. Easy pasta. This is doesn't get any easier than this. Thank you guys. Love you all.
Thanks, Adam.
I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye-bye.